Thank you. We again have to remind you that we have cash out, and today all of you who will stake will get to win big. And it goes with a short code *439#. And then also Dewa 539 Chop Money also goes with a short code *446#. And with Dewa 539 Chop Money, all you need to do is to make sure that you select the option 1, and also you get to play Dewa 539. And for the option 2, you also will win 20 times your stake with Direct 1, and 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3. And then you also get the opportunity to perm your numbers. The numbers available for you to perm are between the range of 1 to 39. And then also, just in case you have any customer complaints or also some advice or some commendations, you can visit the website dewa-nle.com to play. And Dewa always gives you the opportunity to make sure that by 10 a.m. when the draw is undertaken, you're in a better position to appreciate how you have a lot of money being credited into your account. But we also have to tell you that all of us are looking forward to the finals of Ghana's Most Beautiful. And so the question will be, who is going to win that? Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023. Is it going to be Kwatima from the Bono region, Selom from the Volta region, Adwanege from the Upper East region, or Nura from the Northern region, or from Greater Accra right here, Na Ayele? So you get to discover all these answers on Sunday, because that's when we're having the live event, the finale. It's on the 8th of October, and it's live from 8 p.m. at the National Theatre right here in Accra. And tickets already available. We started sharing some this morning. They're just at a cool price of some 50 Ghana cedis, but this is what you gain, experiencing an evening of excitement live with performances from selected artists. So do make sure that you secure your tickets. And what a way for you to be part of Ghana's Most Beautiful, because it is Ghana's beauty being Africa's pride. We also encourage you to share, and as you share our stream, I can already see a couple of you already, my good friend and brother Ras Kotoka, as well as Alfred Dodu already joining us, Imelda Nassar, Amama Gold, I can see a couple of you as well. Prince Henry already joining us, Akasokri Joseph. Please make sure you share, and then also get to comment on the discussion. Now, after the demonstration by the minority picketing just close to the Bank of Ghana, I'm saying close to because there were barricades all around a venue which usually would be free for traffic and people to mill around. It didn't happen that day. So now, what are the options available for the minority to compel the Bank of Ghana governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, to resign? Because if you look at what the economists say, they'll say there are certain indicators of the economy for which we had contributory actions by the governor of Bank of Ghana, his deputies and his board. And with that complicity, it also means that some accounts need to be taken, or somebody needs to account for that. So we're here to discuss those options as well. So I have here with me, communicating for the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a former deputy managing director for the distinguished NIB Bank, Alfred Thompson, vied also for the chairmanship of the MPP in the Central Region. Of course, he didn't win, but so far has been part of the patriots of the Central Region, one of the leading members nationally. He's jotting down a lot of points to blow fire. And for Solly Evans and all of you, please get ready for him, Wonder Boy as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. I have here also with me.
Good morning to Lord. Okay, you're introducing them.
No, continue.
I was saying good morning to Lord and to my brother who runs away and comes once a year. He's written a lot today, and I know he's going to finish us on the set. Because when he comes, he'll just add his little slant to it. And then whether it's a Lafa or it's you came no long ago.
Locally acquired foreign accent. How do you pronounce your name fully, sir?
Adel Ibn Sheikh Omar Ibrahim.
Adel Ibn Sheikh.
Did you hear?
Adel Ibn Sheikh Umar Ibrahim.
Okay. So, Adel, let me pronounce it Ghanaian. Adel Ibn Sheikh Umar Ibrahim. That's local.
It's more than a Libyan arriving in.
And then also a distinguished professor of financial economics at the, well, that's my alma mater as well. I'm very proud to be associated with the University of Ghana Business School. He's a teacher there, but, you know, the boss of the bosses when it comes to teaching, but also write extensively many things economic. He predicted in 2019 that if we don't take care, we'll go to the IMF. That we should. It's very important. That advice was not taken, followed by, we had John Dramani Mahama, who is now getting an apology from the distinguished Kennedy Japan, etc., for all the things that were said to him. Professor Lord Mensah is here. Professor Lord Mensah, how are you?
I'm fine.
You're fantastic, man.
Good morning to my fellow panelists and our viewers out there.
We decided to have a sneak peek from somebody who has filled that position of being a central bank governor for Ghana, and then also a finance minister. So on the monetary side, he played a role, and as far as the fiscal side, he played a role. He distinguished himself in both roles, and he has this to say. Dr. Kwabena Duffuor has this.
Parliament is a very powerful institution. You know that? Yeah. They are so powerful that they control the pace. You understand? Parliament can order the governor. They can order the Minister of Finance. When I was the Minister of Finance, I'll be going there every year to present the budget on behalf of my president. And as soon as I put the document down, I'll be in their hands. Parliament could say, look, go back and tell your president, we will not allow him to spend more than 80% of this. They have the power to say so. I was expecting that the secretary and the team will be there to receive the minority of the leaders of the protest. Because the secretary is the face of the bank. And the secretary would have explained to them, I'm here to receive this on behalf of the governors. I'm the secretary. That's our tradition. That would have calmed them down. But for them to meet head of a security, this was a security issue. It's very important. Security is so important in any environment, and so is the central bank. But this particular issue is a petition. What's a petition? Communication. Right. A petition is what? A formal written request asking you to do something, isn't it? So how do you bring in head of security to deal with the communication issue?
The minority in Parliament has been actively advocating for the resignation of the central bank governor. Dr. Addison has been accused of corruption, malfeasance, and misgovernance. On Tuesday, the minority led a protest to the bank calling on the governor to resign. Former governor of the bank, Dr. Duffuor, requested Parliament to play a crucial role in resolving the bank's issues.
Parliament is a very powerful institution. Parliament can order the governor.
And that is the distinguished Dr. Kwabena Duffuor as a Minister of Finance and then a Bank of Ghana governor. And after all this caution and advice, well, the Bank of Ghana governor currently, Dr. Ernest Addison, described the actions of the minority of that protest as an act of hooliganism or by hooligans. Alfred, why was the governor directed to be speaking that way to the demonstrators?
Has my pen got to do with you and your governor? Good morning again. Your question again, why was
Dr. Ernest Addison directed to speak that way to...
Directed by who? That's the thing.
Looks very obvious, sir.
Directed by who?
Okay. Why did he speak that way?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you are rephrasing. Addison is no small boy, or he's not in the feet of just an ordinary person to be directed and showed what to say and what not to say. You start a demonstration, and the first thing we see on air are unprintable words in Ghana.
Like
directed
what?
at him. Do you want me to repeat that? An honorable person, an honorable member of parliament from Medina, you didn't hear what he said? Unprintable words.
You're talking about Susu. I heard him.
Yes.
I heard him.
Unprintable words. Then you get to the place, a person who reports directly to the governor, a lawyer by profession, a wing commander, a head of all the security or apparatus in the bank.
That was disrespectful, according to observers.
I'm coming. He has a direct report to the governor. He doesn't report through someone to the governor. The head, his position, is a direct report to the governor. So he's a rep of the governor.
He reports directly to the
Yes. When you come into the, what do you call it, banking, go and check our organogram, the structure. Because it's like telling me that the president, early morning when he wakes up and the, what do you call it, head of securities, come and give him a briefing. And he sent one of them that, okay, go and do ABCD for me. You tell me that he's disrespected you by sending the head of...
Mr. Alfred Thompson, how was collecting or being submitted a letter by the demonstrated an act of insecurity or security?
What is wrong with it that when you are coming to submit a letter, you can't give it to someone to give it to the person? What is the end result of the letter? For the person to know. You are just sending, you are communicating something.
I see.
You can give it to anybody. When you come to my house and you are coming to meet me, that, oh, maybe I have an invitation for you, and you come there and I'm not there, you can't leave it with my house help. You take the letter away and come back.
So the Bank of Ghana governor and his deputy, when they were not in the bank.
But they told you that they were at the IMF meeting.
They didn't know that demonstration would take place.
Whether they knew it or not, should they leave the IMF meeting because of someone's keep fit exercise?
Okay, so let me paint a scenario to you, because it's good that you mentioned the situation or the hypothetical environment of your house. So you are not in, but you have been given prior notice by an ally family in your hometown that certain actions you have taken has put the town's reputation into disrepute. You are saying, because you have an important meeting with your business partners, your allied family in your hometown for which you have a relationship, you will forgo that meeting and rather go and meet your business partner.
Was it a meeting or was it dropping of a proposal?
Because this was a protest.
Was it a meeting or it was a drop? They didn't ask for a meeting.
This was a protest.
Let us not confuse matters here. They did not ask for a meeting. They were dropping a proposal.
Okay.
The allied family you are talking about, they are coming that, oh, we want to drop in maybe some questionnaires that we want you to answer for us. And the president decides that he's calling me. Because I have the allied family coming to meet me, I'll tell the president that, oh, my allied family is coming to meet me.
You don't think this is a mark of disrespect?
It is no disrespect.
Because this is the minority side of Parliament.
That is why I gave you the instance that this is someone who reports directly to the governor. When you look at the banking structure, you realize that it's not just anyone within the banking sector.
Okay.
Have you ever seen any protest or any, what do you call it, all these requests or the letters that are written to president or whoever? Have you ever seen the president himself coming for it?
Well,
usually.
No.
The last time, understand, it was the deputy chief of staff. They sent someone.
Okay.
And even
so
this
a deputy
person,
chief of staff can be equated to security head?
the head of security is even higher than the deputy chief of staff when you're looking at the structure.
At the Jubilee House?
Yes.
Are you serious?
The deputy chief of staff reports to the chief of staff. He doesn't report directly to the president.
I see.
He doesn't report directly to the president.
You don't think that's a mark of disrespect?
It's never disrespect. What is disrespect?
Because we have a
Look
side
at
of
the
Parliament.
person's look at the person's level. Disrespect in what way?
Whose level?
The head of security there. What is his level?
He's the one supposed to meet the minority.
What is wrong with that?
I see.
Why? He's not a human being. He's not a Ghanaian. He's not a bank official. He's nothing. He's a nobody. Because you see the title as head of security. And for someone as a whole honorable MP to call him a watchman. Watchman, so what? He's not a human being? He can't send, the governor can't send a rep to meet you and pick it up for him? Excuse me. And you think you are not disrespecting the person in charge.
But that was a post facto action.
Whether it's a post facto or whatever it is, you can call it whatever name. It is totally wrong.
I see.
You cannot tell someone who has that level of reportage that he's a watchman. Excuse me. So all the policemen following, all the people who are around, you want to tell me that they are all watchmen? You want to tell me that they are all watchmen? Let us be a little bit sensitive about things that we don't want to be done to us. We shouldn't do it to others. Things that we don't want to be done to us, we shouldn't do it to others.
So you're saying vice versa, if a head of security is sent, that's fine?
Anybody, he can send anybody within the banks. Once the person is a worker of the Bank of Ghana, he can send anybody to receive it on his behalf. The moment you stand in that steadfast going to receive that petition, you are representing the authority that has been given to you. The moment you stand there, you are representing that authority. So whoever he sends is representing him, the governor, to receive on his behalf. Unless you have a mischievous of having this kefit. Otherwise, why would you not want to give it out and you want to come back? You will come back 20 times? Because 20 times you will not meet the governor. He will definitely send out someone. He will not be the person receiving it. And you see, let us go back and ask ourselves, is he the right person to be given this? Did he appoint himself? Did the governor appoint himself? There's an appointing authority. So if you want to even get him out, don't you give the letter to the appointing authority?
It won't work.
I see.
Then it means that you know, if it won't work, it means that you know that what you are doing it in vain. What is the purpose of all this keep fit exercise that they went for?
You think it's keep fit exercise?
Oh, it's keep fit. It's keep fit. Let's make some noise. Let's rouse the system. Let people see that, oh, what you are doing is going to fetch something. At the end of it all, when you got there, you got someone. You got 1, 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 reps from the Bank of Ghana coming to receive this petition. But you threw it under the carpet. He said, I won't give it to them because what? He's a watchman. A watchman is not a human being. He's not a staff of the bank. He's not fit for purpose. Why? If he's a watchman, isn't he a worker of the bank? Or he's not in a caliber of what?
Mr. Alfred Thompson, your posture smacks of arrogance.
You can call it arrogance. I will call it, I'm telling you the right thing.
Okay.
Because I don't see where I'm being arrogant here. I'm telling you that you don't call someone who has
you and the posture of government,
a legal person.
Okay.
A legal person. A person who has that caliber. You don't call him a watchman. And you call that one rather, that person is not being arrogant. You tell me that that MP who says that this person is a watchman is not being arrogant. I am rather being arrogant. It's for Ghanaians to judge.
Right. Mr. Umar, at the end of the day, there are key considerations that need to be made. And it's all because actions were taken by the head of the central bank outside the law.
Right.
And we're talking about Regulation 30 or Section 30 of the Act in itself.
Right. Roland, good morning once more to Mr. Alfred Thompson and then my senior brother. Yeah, Roland, it gets senior brother Alfred Thompson. It gets a bit worrying. You know, when you listen to Alfred, he goes back and forth a little bit. On one breath, he says, how can you call such an honorable person a watchman? Then he comes back and says, but if it is a watchman, isn't he a human being?
You say he has high accolades.
Listen, no problem. See, we'll come to that conversation. But let me build something small for you. Roland, why a constitution? We say we need a constitution because, excuse me to say, we're human beings. We're not goats, you know? When you leave the human being, he will do anything, basically. Imagine we had a country where we didn't have a constitution. I can walk into this studio, perhaps slap you, Roland, and pick up your camera and go, if I'm stronger, and nothing would happen. So we say, let's give ourselves something that is called a constitution. Now, when we have the Constitution, we're supposed to work with the Constitution. The Constitution is supposed to be that document that you can read and basically understand. Then we come to the conversation of, oh yeah, there are certain things that are inside the Constitution that, you know, people read and they don't understand. They will need some extra explanations. I can understand that, but there are some basics. If I read the Constitution, it says do not kill. I know what it means. Roland, I don't have to come to you or look for a lawyer to ask him what does it mean not to kill. You know, like there are basics we can understand. We can talk about the complications too. That is also there. It's fine. Now, Roland, let me read to you what the Constitution says. The Constitution says under Section 4, Act 612 amended, that is 1A, says, except as provided in the Constitution, the Bank of Ghana, in the performance of its functions under this Act, shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority.
Sure.
Well, do you understand this? Reading, like basically just reading.
Independent.
Do you understand what it means?
Yes.
Do you need a lawyer to explain this? No. Certainly.
Not at all.
Okay, great. So let me take you again. It says what? The governor shall not be removed from office except on the same grounds and in the same manner as a judge of a court of judicature, other than the Chief Justice. You understand this, right?
I do.
It is the Constitution, right?
I do.
It makes sense to you. Okay, so I want to ask you one last question, Roland. If I read to you this other one, I just want to know if you basically would understand that as well. So I'm reading to you one last part, where it says, this is the third part. No, I'm not the same thing. I'm now quoting 30, Section 30. In the event of any emergency, the governor, the minister, and the controller and accountant general shall meet to decide the limit of borrowing. That should be made by government. And the minister shall submit a report on the issue to Parliament within 7 working days. Do you understand this one as well?
Yes.
Was it done? You see,
well, there's some defense to that, is it?
We'll come to that. The Constitution gave you a revelation. So now Addison is telling us in the face that, oh, there are processes. You can follow it. There's something called the Constitution. Go and follow it. Because these are the processes that you have to follow when you want to take the man out. The same Constitution said 3 things. 1, don't give, overdraft of more than 5%. If you get to that level, you have to give over 5%. Have a conversation, report to Parliament. In fact, the governor has to report to Finance Minister and report to Parliament. Right? The same Constitution says that if you, for certain reasons, give that person that 5%, he's supposed to pay back in 3 working months, 3 calendar months. If they do not pay, you don't have the authority to re-give back another amount until that has been paid. The same Constitution is telling you and I that, look, the amount of money that you make available must not exceed a certain amount. Do I need a lawyer to explain that? No.
Well, they said they went through the processes. So if in hindsight they went through the processes, they would think that they, or be in the rightful position that they were right.
Why? The processes that they had to go through, the minority is not in Parliament. We didn't see it. They brought it. So they brought the documentations to Parliament. 2021. When you bought 2020, we saw it. And we went for 10 billion. We saw that.
Parliament is covered publicly.
You saw that, right? 2021, did you come? 2022, did you come? No. We're saying, these are basic Constitution. You're saying that the Constitution has given ways and means, even though you don't, that the Constitution again allows us to demonstrate. Like when you have the situation where a father or a wife would probably, or a husband comes home and says, okay, my wife has cooked something nice, but I don't think I'm going to really take this food. Why? Because he wants to protest. It's allowed. It's called a protest. You understand what I'm saying? So if we come to a conclusion that, listen, we've seen some of these things happen, the same Constitution they are calling us to make use of is the same Constitution they are trampling over. Which is it? Which is it? Roland, before I come down, in any case, the people of Ghana have shown so much commitment. What happened to the report that Frimpong Boateng submitted to the president? What happened to it? What happened to it? What happened to the Galamsey expose? What happened?
Why is this relevant?
I'm bringing you. You're saying we should go through a certain process. We should go through the Constitution. We should follow a certain process. When we follow that process, bottom line, when you read the act on how to take out, the Bank of Ghana governor, when you read it, you would come to the conclusion that it has to end up with the president. Now, if it is supposed to end with the president, I'm asking you, all the other ones that we did, Frimpong Boateng, nothing happened to it. Arasu West Wagon, nothing happened to it. Ajima Menu, nothing happened to it. Finance Minister must go. 80 MPs coming together and saying, look, we're sick and tired of this finance minister. We believe that he has to basically leave the scene. Nothing happened to it. The Men's Gold saga, nothing happened to it. Roland, we can keep going on and on and on. The argument is that if we believed that we can go through those processes, and after we have gone through those processes, it will get to somebody called the president, and the president will take this and act upon it. Certainly, we would have taken that first step. However, we're not debunking that step of having to go through that process. We're only telling them back hypocritically that the same Constitution, the same Bible, the same Quran you are quoting from and telling us all to follow it is the same one that you're trampling upon. And then when you come and talk about this, oh, you people don't understand the Constitution, you need to go and read. It's why I had to read for you both sections so you can come to a certain conclusion. Roland, he makes mention of something which is very, very interesting to me. He raised the issue of SOSU. You know, amazingly. I'm excited.
You heard his words.
I heard his words. Yeah. But you see, there's another beautiful aspect of it.
Why?
We're not proud. You know, the man went out there, said certain things that were unacceptable. People called his attention to it. People within the party called his attention to it. He eventually came out and said, I'm sorry. At least he apologized.
But the action was wrong.
It was wrong. Unacceptable. Okay. True. No two ways about it. It was unacceptable. We agree. But to even admit it and to come out and apologize is a mark of somebody that is not proud. When you have the president sit in Kumasi on TV and go like, oh, if the people of Ashanti region decide not to vote for us, they can carry their vote. Why is he the one going to follow them and hold their hands into it? When the people of Ashanti region made noise, did he even have the temerity to come back and say we're sorry? No, he didn't.
Maybe the people of Ashanti don't feel they were
very well.
Maybe it's not an insult.
Thumbs up to Sosu for apologizing. And he would apologize again. And any other person within the NDC that does something which is unacceptable, we are
but
not.
The action was wrong.
I am not disputing.
To even undertake the action is wrong.
I am not disputing that. I'm saying that I am not disputing. I'm saying there is one person who would have said that and then gone to sleep like nothing happened. There's another person who would admit that I made a mistake, and for that matter, I am apologizing. Roland, when you even go to court, okay, and you're being accused of a crime, did you know that when you plead guilty, you know, with explanation, sometimes your sentence is actually reduced. You know why? Because you plead guilty. This is my argument.
Dr. Lord Mensah, financially, how are the actions of the Bank of Ghana, of course, and he took the action or the decision in consonance with the board. Of course, the management had to do what they had to do. A grave violation of not only the law, but also grounding us in these difficulties that we find ourselves.
Yeah.
On the monetary side and the fiscal side.
Thank you. You see, let me delve a bit into, why, Governor Addison reacted in that manner, and whether it has impact, as far as the financial space is concerned or not. I mean, clearly, I have looked at the possible avenues of, compelling the governor to resign. The first one, I'm looking at the political pressure. Looking at his appointees, identifying and then also coming to terms with the situation that this governor's performance is not, satisfactory. And as a result of that, we appointed him and we are disappointing him. That is one. The second one is through the legal, channels, which, he has mentioned that, quoting all the constitutions and all. I'll come to the financial impact and all this. And then the fourth one, looking at the internal board, right? And then the committee, that forms the Bank of Ghana governing, structure. The board can come up and say that as a governor, some of the decisions you've been leading us to are not decisions that, is helping the economy. And as a result of that, we want you off the scene. The board can do that.
Yes, they can.
But what we see in the Ghanaian board, most of them are rubber stamps. Some of the appointees even see it to be more or less like a privilege to be there serving as a board member. So when something is going wrong, they don't even see it. The last but one, which I will talk about, is the international pressures. IMF is a typical stakeholder. When we messed up this economy, where do we go to? We go to IMF. IMF can come up and say that, look, this governor's performance is leading the economy into a ditch. And as a result of that, we are proposing. They cannot force us to remove him, but they can propose that we remove the governor. Have you heard IMF giving anything of that sort? Unless they don't accept that this economy is in recession or this economy is in distress. The last one, which I think is the best option, is the public pressure we saw on the street. And we have to appreciate that Parliament is a people's representative of this country. And the opposition party, which has been tagged with this, street jamboree, is half of Parliament. So it's more or less half of, Ghanaians, and more or less half of Ghanaian taxpayers, calling the head of the governor. We've had governors upon governors in this Fourth Republic. Have you seen or heard any governor, being called to resign? No. Roland, do you know the last time we recorded, inflation of 40% and above?
That'll be in the 90s.
In the 90s. I have the plot, which I use it for my students every now and then.
Okay.
And clearly, it tells you that, yes, this economy has gone back. How did we get here? We have all the rules, all the guidelines, monetary policy guidelines, fiscal policy guidelines, and all those. There's a reason, and in fact, economic reason, why Bank of Ghana is limited as far as financing the government is concerned.
What's the reason?
The reason is that, you see, when you take a political horizon, it's usually short term. 4 years does not build a nation. 4 years does not build a nation. So if the fiscal side is looking at 4 years tenure to keep, their position or possibly break the 8, I mean, as a governor, government goes, government comes. You have to make sure that this economy is in good footing. I'm not saying, central bank, when the economy is running down, don't come to a rescue. And I've heard arguments that it was a rescue mission.
You go to 46, they keep quoting that.
Yes, every central government, central bank serves that purpose. If you go to Americas, they rely on the Fed to re-energize economies. But the Feds don't over-concentrate on the fiscal side. Rather, they use the monetary, corridors. I have mentioned this several times. There are monies, the Bank of Ghana also acts as a banker to the government.
Yes.
Banker to the government means that if government goes to raise funds abroad, IMF money comes in for development, World Bank money, it comes to sit at the Bank of Ghana. Government taps into it. These monies are earmarked funds that are going to do a specific job. So when you print money and in this country, when it comes to the fiscal, our problem in this country is how we spend. It's not what we generate. We know very well that, when money gets into the political hands, who are the policy makers as well, okay? This money gets into inefficient sectors. That is when we construct rules that are not economically important. That is when we allocate funds to areas that will not build up into revenue generation, but ends up in people's pocket because of political financing. So effectively, we know that is why there's a limitation as to how, the central bank should be careful. The quantum of monies that they release to the, the government.
So the question
now, what prevents the BOG using the banking corridors? Because if you print money and you think you really want to, re-energize the economy, what prevents you from saying that, okay, fine, the interest rate, I don't need much money now. So effectively passing on, this money to the banks at a lower rate, for which the banks will do on-lending to the public or businesses and other things.
You mean that could have been a first
That
option?
is the emphasis. That is why all the act around the Bank of Ghana's operations is about monetary policy. Monetary policy is not fiscal policy. So channeling funds through the corridors of government has its own economic repercussions. And that is why we are recording this huge inflation. Battling it has become a problem, because at the point where you are increasing, the policy rate, you are building up into interest rate structures also going up. And look at the yield curve we have now. The yield curve, I mean, the maturities of various financial instruments, and then, you know, their
Some
interest
of them,
rates that go.
they are even
The
extending
short term is
maturity.
30 years. And then the long term, which is the restructured bonds that we have, nobody is trading in it, is about 10% as we speak now. So the yield curve is inverted. Now, you cannot build economy with inverted yield curve. You can't build economy when the funds that are available to you are only short term.
Do you think the
In fact,
governor is aware of this?
They are all aware of it. They are technical men like I sit here. So effectively, what you have to do as a governor, having, you know, gotten information of that sort, that people were knocking at your doors, but you were not around. And as a result of that, they do not want to deal with, you know, the head of security at your bank, and which my good friend Thompson is saying that he reported directly to the governor. You see, let's talk about message and the potency of the message.
And actions.
And the actions. When you pass on information, I can whisper into, the gentleman here can whisper into my ears, right? By the time I pass it on to Thompson, and then he passes it on to you, that information has been diluted one way or the other. There's a theory to that effect. And I believe that the finance minister, sorry, the protesters, including the leader of a minority in parliament, Ato Forson, believe that once this information gets to the security, you know, attaché at the Bank of Ghana, and then passes it on to the governor, there could be one way or the other a dilution or something, because seriousness being attached to the information will be reduced. And so we need the person to petition the person directly. So from where I sit, the response from Governor Addison was unnecessary. If the demonstration was unnecessary, then his response was also what? Unnecessary. Because at the end of the day, we know where funds are supposed to be flown into the economy. We're not saying that don't rescue the economic situation. That is why most of the time, when economies are grounded or going down, you see, you know, interest rate being lowered. But in our case, you can't fight interest rate now because of where inflation is hanging. And so there's a problem. And we know very well that this administration for the past 6 years has been keeping the economy at the macro level without bringing it down to businesses. So the GDP growth and all those things that we are recording and we get happy as a result of government spending. And where is the government spending?
On the social side.
Social investment. Social investment, we'll talk about it another time. It's a whole topic on its own.
Okay.
So from where I sit, I think, you know, the governor did not do well. Yeah.
Mr. Alfred Thompson, I do know that until 2022, they recorded profits.
Yeah.
And it's been going on from 2012, 13, etc. Yeah. And then somebody will say that the decision was compelling. At the end of the day, going through the right procedures and making it public and hearing, I'm talking about laying or apprising Parliament directly, per my interpretation of, or my non-interpreted understanding, because I'm not the Supreme Court, so my understanding was that the Finance Minister, BOG Parliament, the BOG Finance Minister, BOG Parliament. He didn't say BOG Finance Minister who is to inform Parliament. That is an affront to the law.
BOG Finance Minister.
Yes, the BOG is supposed to, in the case of this, inform the Finance Minister and Parliament. So the conjoining word there is "and Parliament."
Yes.
I mean, in normal English expression, "and Parliament." It didn't say through Finance Minister to Parliament.
What does the 6 say?
Which of the six?
30 Act 16230.
I have to go back and make reference.
Go and check. But whilst you are doing that, I'll respond to one or two things that they've mentioned here. One, when he was reading the Constitution, he talked about how to get the Chief Justice, the BOG governor out. And one of the things is through the Chief Justice, giving letting the Chief Justice do the necessary things, like they did for the Commissioner for the Electoral Commission and other things. So when you start this way, knowing very well that you want to get someone out of office, you go and you expect the person who you are giving the letter to get himself out of office. His response is, I will not resign. And it's simple and straight. The time you were even telling him that he's done wrong were the times when all the international central banks came together. He got an award. The best central bank. But he got an award for the best central bank in how they ran their affairs. You want to tell me that Australia, with their 37 billion Australian dollars, that has gone haywire, they've also told their governor to go, or their exchequer to walk out? You want to tell me that in UK, where 150 billion provision is to be made, they've told their exchequer to walk out?
Did they get negative equity?
I'm asking you questions. Some of them have gone negative. Some of them have gone negative. Are you telling me that the Swiss, 132 billion Swiss francs, that they made provision for, have they told their exchequer to walk out? Let us be serious and realistic.
Which is
what is wrong is wrong. If you have a problem, you go through the necessary constitution. The same thing he's reading that we should abide by. You go through that and let the processes work. If it doesn't work, that is when you can now go on the streets. But till then, I see the going on the streets as a keep fit exercise. 2, he talked about Sosu responding or apologizing. The same Honorable Sosu, who keeps on insulting and insulting. You forgot when the police was chasing him. He said Nanado did not apologize. You forgot what President Mahama told the people of Ashanti region, that even when they give them a gold street, they will not even appreciate it. You forgot that he said that he's a dead goat. Whatever you say, I don't care. You forgot when he said that you have not even been a president before, so don't even ask or tell me anything on what to do. I don't listen to you.
So here we are.
And all these people, you have put it aside and you have come to talk about someone who has sat with Ghanaians and said, yes, we are in a challenging time. We are in difficulties, but we will come out of it together. Because whatever is going on, we are doing it for the best interest of the Ghanaian people. Then my brother talked about 4 years there's no build a nation. It's very true. It's very, very true. And that is why under PNDC, NDC, they got 19 years of reign to put their structures in place. And that is why we are calling on Ghanaians to at least give MPP another 4 years plus to make sure that the structures, the fundamentals that you are putting together are solid. I'll read something from the IMF, what do you call it? The IMF director. Recently, just how many days ago, yesterday or so, that she was talking about how the Ghanaian economy is picking up and how they need to support Ghana to come out of this. It tells you that whatever they are putting in place is right. It takes time. Like he said, the economy cannot be transformed in 4 years. It doesn't change overnight. And all these things I have enumerated to you have different repercussions in different countries. And that is why most countries are suffering. The simple point is that the world is in an economic global crunch. Take it or leave it. And he knows. Professor Lord Minster, or Mr. Lord Minster, very soon Professor.
I'm a professor.
Okay, Professor Lord Minster knows that we are in a world economic crunch. And so it's not only Ghana that is going through this. So when you sit down and you start casting the governor, that he hasn't done A, he hasn't done B, he hasn't done C, I sat down and asked myself, I traveled recently, and when I saw some of the things going out in different places, I went to about 3 or 4 different countries.
Which countries?
3 or 4 different countries.
If you don't tell us a country, how would we pen the scenario?
Don't worry. When I went, Singapore is included. You know, even tissue paper, when they give it to you, they charge you. Tissue paper that they use.
What's the point of this consideration?
I'm telling you that they charge to every single thing. We are lucky. We have got so many things for granted. And we've taken it to the extent that we feel that everything is just, let us go to the streets and show that we are not happy with this. Let us get the crowd, and it means that, yes, that is it. Let me tell you something.
Please do.
When we shoot ourselves in the foot, we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
But who is shooting us in the foot? An action taken by...
Was the action,
by
did
central
the
bank
action
governor,
help us
that
at
is
the
not
point in
within the
time?
remit of
It's
the law.
an emergency time. Did the action help us at that point in time? Yes, it did. Is it now bringing the country back to where it has to go to? Yes, he's doing it.
I see. It led to a loss.
Whatever he has to do,
68
at
billion.
whatever he has to do, you see, those are
CD
notes.
losses.
They are
53 billion.
They are note issues. You have from 1992 over 32 billion non-marketable instruments sitting in your books, just hippie jumping, playing around. Always you account for it. Oh, I have this, I have this, I have that, I have that. And there are instruments that you can't put on the open market and exchange it. And it's just sitting there since 1992. And you take a man who, when he was handed over the Bank of Ghana, saw that our reserves since 2008, when President Kufuor was leaving office, our gold reserves was 8.7 tons. He moved it to 15.1 ton. That is our gold reserve, just to shore up our reserves. He's pushing for the monetary side to be changed from dollars to gold as an instrument. This is someone who is thinking and moving the bank forward. And you come and tell me that, oh, this man is not performing.
Very well, very well. Now, Mr. Umar,
When Sam George came out, you said, this is Honorable Suso apologized. Did Sam George apologize? He said he wasn't going to apologize.
when you called JM incompetent, have you ever apologized for it?
Did I call him incompetent?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Right.
Did you hear me calling him
All right.
incompetent?
Mr. Umar, Mr. Umar, there's a certain consideration that needs to be made. And these have been espoused by leading economists, not only in our university. Professor Steve Hanke, of course, I've even communicated with him through email. Johns Hopkins, and also does a lot of consultancy in France, has chastised constantly, even before 2022, the way the management of the economy was going. And let me make some allusions so that we all apprise ourselves. Some of the key countries that the government of the day, of Nanado, keep comparing Ghana's poor economic performance with, are in the top 30 to 50 top economies of the world. They will mention United States of America. United States of America is in excess, in trillions, 105. They don't mention China, so I'll bring China. China is the second topmost. We have Japan. Then they'll mention Germany, in excess, 4.3 trillion.
Excess of what?
Please.
I'm asking. Excess of what?
Brazil, which usually goes to the IMF and there are other Bretton Woods institutions for bailouts, has an economy in excess of GDP, 2 trillion. Indeed, their agriculture, even though they find themselves in the doldrum, is one of the vibrant in the world. We go to them for loans. If you look at the interchanges we're building. Then they also tend to mention other countries in Europe. So I see Netherlands, etc. Even Argentina, which looks to be the leading country owing the IMF, has a GDP of 641 billion. And we're talking USD. Then he mentioned Singapore, one of the countries he traveled to. I've been to Singapore before, twice actually. They have a nice, beautiful airport. Strict rules. If you're corrupt, they get you, you go to jail.
Quick.
That is why they are effective. They have no minerals, human resource. That economy, Singapore, that he's comparing Ghana to, tissue, blah, 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 is in excess USD, 550 billion.
Right.
If you see these comparisons and the actions that were taken by our economy and its central bank governor, how do they relate or sync?
Roland, you see, these are half-brothers, and I always call them our half-brothers. They simply just talk too much. They talk too much. Before 2016, Roland, before 2016, you know, when the NPP came to government, everybody saw the kind of goodwill they had. The media, CSOs, everybody was behind them. In less than 4 years, in fact, 4 years, when we went for the 2020 elections, They lost from 169 seats to 137. To an extent that now they have to fight with us over one seat. One. Just so they can have some majority. It tells you that the goodwill was what? Was dropping. But you see, he sits here and then he says, Roland, he says, oh, we are lucky. We as Ghanaians, we are lucky. We're lucky that you're messing up the economy. We're lucky that you're comparing us to a country like US and Singapore. Why? In Singapore, you think that Addison would still be sitting on his seat? They are where they are because of the kind of decisions they take. Trump is in court. Oh, please. Trump is in court. Right? Right? These are the people you want. So when it comes to certain things, you say, oh, we are the same. When it comes to corruption and dealing with it, then you go like, oh, we are not the same. You show us that you're not the same. Roland, I have given you examples. What happened to Professor Frimpong Boaten's report? The Layouth submitted a document to His Excellency the President during the time of Sophia Akufu, indicating that their lands were being looted. What happened to it? Men's Gold Saga, what happened to those petitions? Don't sit here and talk to me about petitions. You have not shown us the way. When you're selected as a leader, all of us are supposed to follow you, Roland. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to follow you. So you set the examples. Remember what happened during the time of 2017 when they came to power and we had these issues of, these private securities that were following the various parties? We indicated to them, we said, look,
you mean Delta Force?
Delta Forces.
Some of them who invaded the courts.
We mentioned to them, we said, look, you're the president. You have some of them, debunk them, put them on the side and see if everybody else will not follow you. So here's what I'm going to tell Alfred. This is basic. I'm saying that if the president has given us reasons, in fact, you had 80 members of parliament from your own camp telling the president, we do not believe in the finance minister. You have to let him go. What happened to that petition? Very good. Before you even come to respond to that, then I'm now coming to ask you. I'm saying, this morning I read to you from the same constitution, which I read and understand, which you read and understand, and then he indicates that in the cases of emergency, no problem. Because the writers of the Constitution understood that there could be situations of emergency. They gave you a solution. They said, in the event you have that, BOG governor, the finance minister himself, the parliament, no, the two of them, together would sit down and discuss it. BOG is supposed to inform parliament and the finance minister within 7 working days. You're supposed to have that. When you do that, then we can have a conversation of what is it that you're actually looking for. He's telling me it's emergency, so it's okay. So Roland, when I walk into the studio and I see you and Alfred fighting, for example, I'm just starting an example, you and Alfred fighting, I figured, oh, looking at Alfred and how he's tall, he's probably, going to mess you up. So let me just hold him and then stab him in the neck. When I stab him in the neck, he dies, right? So I'm going to kill him, to solve a problem. This is what you're telling us. This is how you're thinking. You're telling us that even though you're breaking the law, it is okay. No. That's what you're telling us.
So
that's what my brother, Alfred. When you're speaking, I'm here, out of respect. But you're telling us. No. You're telling us that it is okay. It is okay for someone to break. Why? We need to see an act done before you go to court. Why do you write a petition? We're writing the petition because we've seen what is going on, right?
Because there's a grievance.
It's a grievance. 5% first. You went beyond the 5% in 2021. The person is supposed to pay back within three months. He did not pay back. You go back again in the following year, give him another beyond 5%. So what? You're going back and forth and you're doing all this wastage. And you're telling us that we're not smart enough to be able to read the Constitution and understand what it says. Now he comes to the issue of Susu, and let me just land there. I am telling you something on Susu. I said, yes, he said something. But you see, you guys spoke as though you had the solution to this country on a silver platter. You spoke as though you don't get angry. Today he's mentioning things that Mahama said. You know what is ironical? 7 years. After 7 years, you still have the guts to mention Mahama's name. So, Roland, you're sitting in the seat, right? You're doing your job, right? We come and we sit here and you ask us questions, right? And then you say, oh, you're supposed to do this. And then you mention, and then we counter. Alfred comes to say to TV3, Roland doesn't know how to do his job. When he's working, this is what he does. He carries water, he does this, he does that. We say, okay, Alfred, come sit in the seat. You come and sit in the seat. Alfred comes and then he takes, the people that you have invited, your guests. He takes and then looks at it, takes a pen, probably, rubble inside. And then when we talk, Alfred says, oh, but when Roland was here, he was carrying water. 7 years. You're still sitting here and lamenting. The lives of people are being wasted. And we're telling you that the demonstration that we went for, it's allowed. It's a protest, like you did in the past. It is allowed. if you say, okay, these people are the people belonging to the NDC, why? We don't pay taxes. Communal default pays taxes. It's part of what you used to pay you. No? So we're right to want to demonstrate. We have all the avenues available, but we're telling you we chose to do this while we're working on the other sections, knowing very well it isn't going anywhere because we have seen examples, countless of them, where it goes to the president and nothing's done.
Okay, Prof, at the end of the day, we have to take some corrective measures. Sure. If the Bank of Ghana governor has to resign because the minority is compelling him to, what other means are available for them to compel him because of the actions he took while in office, even though he says, of course?
I think in my first presentation, I laid out the options, but then I said the best option is the street, public pressure. The reason being that, see, when you take the political pressure route, I don't think it will yield any result, because the president who appointed the governor has never, given any signal or any, hope to Ghanaians that if any of his appointees messed up, he's going to kick him out. Typical example is the finance minister's issue. So I believe that is not, the route, to be taken. The second one is through legal means, which, takes a longer time. And then also looking at the structures, we have, at the courts, right? The minority has lost trust in the legal system that we have in this country.
In themselves.
The third one, which I'm looking at, is the internal board and the various committees at the Bank of Ghana level. He's the chairman when they sit. But at the end of the day, if decisions are not going on well, we've gotten to a point where battling inflation turns out to increase short-term interest rate, which we've gotten ourselves into a stalemate, economic stalemate. The board itself have themselves to be blamed, in a sense that...
The BOG board?
Yes, of course. If things are not going well, so can't we have any of them being independent enough to say that this is how the economy is trading, and at the end of the day, we're not happy with it, and maybe we are calling the head of our chairman. Have we seen that? We've not. Another route, which I think I'm so disappointed in, is the IMF itself, the international stakeholders.
Why?
Because they also have a stake in this country. When push comes to shove, we come to borrow from you. And in fact, you have given our politicians so much hope that they've used IMF as an insurance, which at the end of the day, over the years, we intentionally, let me emphasize on this, we intentionally run down this economy and then follow an insurance, which is
ICU.
Yes, that's what we've been doing all this year.
So you think they should be...
They should step in and say, hey, Governor Addison, your decisions with your team is not helping the Ghanaian economy.
And so?
So possibly we recommend that you step aside. That's a recommendation. Let Ghanaians digest, and our laws will deal with it, and then we decide on what to do through parliament or whatever the process be. I'm disappointed in them. It's like they watch us, right, to go into the ditch and come back to them, compounding our debt. The debt stock that we are talking about, right, which is almost hitting about 90% of our GDP, it includes IMF debt. So effectively, I'm disappointed. So if you lay down all these options, I can tell you that the public pressure, which was to take to the street, right, is the best option available to the Ghanaian. Roland, let me tell you, Ghanaians are not happy. Ghanaians are not happy. You just allow TV3 to go on the street, right, and be asking questions. Or once in a while, pick a trotro, sit at the back, as if you are moving from my junction at New Botiano, West Hills Mall, thereabout, to Medina. And you will see, what is going on. A situation where we've had, you receive your salary, and 40% of that salary is already wiped out as a result of increase in prices. A situation where we've had, economic management for the past 7 years, allocating funds for planting for food and jobs, and still food prices tend to lead our inflation dynamics. So from where I sit, I think all the options, will not put pressure as expected. But even the public pressure, I know it will not yield any results, but it will send a signal. It will send a signal to the governor that, hey, look, the people are aware of what is going on. So effectively, I think the best option is to the public pressure. And that is a demonstration we saw, from the minority, who are reps of, 50% of this country.
Why?
Population.
At the end of the day, we have to draw a certain conclusion. And the question Al Ghazini, for example, and Prince want me to ask is the governor behaving or acting like a party governor or just a technical person? Because he has a great wealth of experience behind him. Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, I'm writing what you are saying so that I can respond accordingly, because I have some points I want to talk on.
Yes, please.
Prof mentioned the oral messaging that he spoke about in one of his submissions. You see, unfortunately for him, this message is not an oral message, it's a written message.
It is, but the carrier matters, Alfred.
Oh.
The carrier determines the seriousness of the message.
You have written, and the carrier's attitude and his way he brings the message also determines how serious you are as a carrier.
So then you don't pass
what
it
I'm
on
saying
to...
is that what I'm saying is that there will not be distortion whether you give it to the chief whip or you give it to the ordinary member of parliament.
It portrays the seriousness attached to the message.
The message, once you've sent the message, whoever receives it on behalf of the governor and the people.
You gave an example of your home.
And I've stated this as
he
it
says he won't
is.
come and meet you. You use his watchman to come and meet you. That's what he said.
Yeah, I told him.
I mean,
I didn't say watchman. I said if I even send my house girl to pick the letter from you, I've sent her.
You've changed it to girl.
I said the house boy, house guy. I didn't use watchman.
You see,
I never used the word
shows
watchman.
how serious.
You see, that's why I say that sometimes you want to be mischievous a bit. Let's take this as a serious discussion and let's move forward. I use the word that if I'm not there and my house help decides to
It's
pick
a sign
it,
of disrespect.
or I tell, it's no disrespect from
It
anybody.
is. It
I
is.
don't see what is wrong with
It
it
is.
because if I'm not there, someone can take it on my behalf. Now, he talked that we 7 years and we are talking about Mahama, we are talking about this thing. If before you left office, you tell me you are a dead goat, and you come back and you want us to talk about you want me to go and talk about Udufo, who is not a candidate of your party? Or you want me to talk about who?
Is it about John Dramani Mahama?
No.
We're talking about the situation.
You stated something about my president.
Which has seen
I'm coming.
a degrading
my
of
brother,
the economy
you
ever seen
you
over the
stated
last 30,
something
40
about my president. And I am telling you that your president is even worse.
Seriously?
Your candidate you are trying to even portray.
Is that a response to the
Yes,
issues?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
He's worse. My president hasn't done anything wrong. He has come out and stated that there are challenges in the system. And he's going to work upon them one after another. And whoever takes over from him will continue with the good work he's doing.
No, he said
And that is
a
what.
savior.
No, he never said that. Roland, don't be mischievous.
I was at the MPP.
Don't be mischievous. He never said that.
This not
Play
mischief.
it again and see whether he said he needed a
that the
savior.
next person will come and
fix it.
Continue
Yeah.
what he's doing. Is continue.
Fix it.
But when he's fixing it, is he going to do this thing?
So
it's
you
not
have-
continuation of what he's fixing. Let me read what the IMF director said. Ghana is doing actually quite well. You have seen that their position. You have seen that their position has improved over the last month. The economy is a much better place. I would very much hope that we can have the disbursement of 600 million tranche of IMF money that is due to be disbursed in November. And this is Kristalina Georgieva, IMF director, on the 5th. That was yesterday. That was what she said. So it tells you that the international community are seeing what is going on. They've seen that Ghana is improving. It's not as if someone decided that, oh, let me send Ghana into a ditch. Something happened across the globe. Ghana is included. We have our challenges as a country. We've gone over it, and now we've seen that wherever we are going to, We have to move the country forward, and that is what we are doing.
Okay.
He talked about minority having lost trust in the system, the legal system. The minority have lost trust in themselves.
Yeah.
They have lost trust. Did you see Haruna at the match? No. Former minority leader. Did you see the Asawase, what do you call it? Legislature at their place? The three wise men, Avoka, did you see them? They moved them out of the system.
Who are the three wise men?
I mentioned their names now. Avoka, Asawase, Mutaka, and what do you call it? Haruna. They've moved them. They've sidelined them. Okay. And then some people think that they are there.
You spoke to them and
they are there.
Did you speak to them and they said?
Did you speak to governor before you are sitting here and talking about his cases? Did you speak to governor?
No, this is a public issue.
And so that is also a public issue.
Right.
And we are all seeing what is going on. You didn't speak to governor. I am telling you that also. I'm also deducing this from it. And now you are going to ask me that did I speak to them?
I've not accused any opinion of the governor.
No, but what you are asking is quite unfortunate.
No. I mean, let's get this straight. I have not adduced any statement.
Oh, but you said so many things that I responded to.
All the things I said are of public statements that have been made either by the government.
Everything I'm saying is of public information. Yeah. So let us not come and sit here and say that, what do you call it? The minority have lost trust in the legal system. They have lost trust in themselves. They have lost trust in themselves.
Okay.
And I'll tell you and I'll state it over and over again. Ghana is not in isolation from anywhere or any country. The governor is doing.
That is why
the governor is doing very well. I didn't see Haruna.
So there's a video.
There's an old video.
Alfred.
No, that is not.
It's not the same attacks.
No, it's not.
Alfred, you see,
can I finish?
Right.
Can I finish
please,
my submission before you come in?
So officially now we know Haruna was there.
Oh,
please. Now
can I
end?
Oh,
You have
why are you
30
being
seconds.
mischievous today?
I'm not being. Please stop it.
You are.
I'm not.
Because even some of the way you are even asking your questions is being, you see, Cookie is laughing at us.
So I have this one from an aide from Haruna Idrisu. Hamid, thank you for sending me this. Haruna took part in the demonstration. That's from an aide of.
But he wasn't among the frontliners anyway. Let's put it that way. Whatever you want to put it, I have stated that they have sidelined them, and everything shows that they have sidelined them.
All right.
Coming back to my issue, I am stating that the governor and the Minister of Finance, they are doing well. You stated that why MPP minorities, a lot of them asked for the head of the Minister of Finance. And what did the president tell them? Let him finish with the IMF deals that you are doing. You haven't finished with it. You're on the second tranche. They are still negotiating with the IMF. IMF came down. The time you people decided to do your demonstration was the time the bank governor was dealing with the IMF. And you want him to leave that most important thing and come and talk to you.
This one was not important.
You think that bringing the country back on track is not important?
So I have this from
his focus on his work.
From Jubilee House Communications. The analogy of potency of message used by Prof is erroneous. The petition that was meant to be transmitted was written, not oral. So the case of distortion in transmission is
straight.
It's moot.
You will not agree to it, but that is it. It's moot.
There's no way I will agree.
Our document to the IMF.
You already come with an informed decision.
Our document to the IMF, was it put together? Was it written? Our exchanges by way of the bailout pact. That's a message. This is what we're agreeing on.
Everything was written and signed.
So you're saying a written document is not more important?
Everything you discuss in a meeting, they write and you sign off. That is why you have the chairman who signs off.
You sign
off. Nothing is gone. You don't go and discuss things and they just read there. If I agreed with it, then we go. Then I send you my
the teachers too have been saying they're having a brain drain. So you wrap up on this. Just
security expert. I mean,
he's not only a security expert. He's an operational director.
You have 30 seconds.
Operational director.
Let me read this. Let me read this.
Please let him make it.
No, but he's asking me a question.
The only most important thing in this life that doesn't, waver is change. Within the NDC, we believe that, we need to make changes to make things happen. In any case, you already indicated that Haruna was there. This argument about your president, it's extremely naive. You know why? Because at the end of the day, Roland, we had 80 billion. This is how much we had, 80 billion. You've had in excesses of 500 billion. We shouldn't be having any of these conversations. We shouldn't even be talking about these things here. For whom much is given, much is expected. And then again, Alfred must remember that every single money they are piling up today it is the next
Alfred,
government
that's Haruna
that is
there,
supposed to come.
Onia TV, one of us Australia, you know Onia
It is
TV.
it is the next
You want us
government
to pause
who
and
is
talk
going
about
to
this?
pay for that amount of money, and we have every single right
Okay,
to
point.
point it to them. So the arrogance and the prejudice and all of that put together in them, and the fact that they even have pride not to be able to apologize, it's just, you know, heartbreaking.
Sheikh, thank you. Now, in 30 seconds,
Yes.
what do you look forward to? 30 seconds.
Yes, I'll be careful on comparing countries. I mean, when you are telling Ghanaians about,
The other they have economic.
no, we have global problems.
Yes.
But then,
So state it.
global problems never moves. Clearly, we have to economic, ourselves in. And then by so doing, we'll find solutions to it.
Okay, Prince Henry from Cambodia says, Mr. Addison has taken Ghanaians for a ride, and he seemed to be having the posture that Ghana belongs to them. Shamza from Tamale says, Haruna was there. Then we have...
That's what is concerned. Let me give me my 30 seconds and let me also finish. Or you don't give me 30 seconds.
No, I won't give you 30 seconds.
Why?
You spoke first, very lengthily.
So if
Kizito
I
from
spoke
Tema
first,
says,
doesn't mean that I should end
it
with 30
seems
seconds.
Mr. Thompson has been trained to defend everything. And then we have from Kalioman and many of you. Thank you, gentlemen.
And what George did was totally wrong, and it should be condemned.
Thank you, gentlemen. For those of you who are joining us on stream today,
is working to change the
we are also having
whether you like it or not.
a preview to the finale of Ghana's most beautiful. Please. A preview to Ghana's most beautiful right here on TV3 New Day. Thank you all for joining us on our stream. And well, for all of you who have given us, I have this one from Blueprint as well, who is saying the economic activity in Ghana is rebounding strongly. And so good morning to Charles Bissio, MP for Esikado Kitan.
Your minister.
And then also we have Kwesi Mensah watching us from the US. Now, correction for Alfred. President Mahama never said people of Ashanti. He said some people. All right. How do you, please. I'm reading an LPM, live preventer mention, please. How do you dispose of your used electrical and electronic equipment? Now, do you know that improper disposal of used as well as waste electrical and electronic equipment is a health and environmental risk or hazard? Now, one, the Environmental Protection Agency is now conducting a national inventory and situational analysis of electrical as well as electronic waste, known popularly as e-waste, to establish the actual volumes of e-waste in Ghana. Now, the result of the inventory will then inform policy interventions, business promotion, and also inform appropriate treatment options within the e-waste value chain. For this reason, enumerators will be in the field to take inventory of both functioning and waste electrical and electronic equipment in your household, private and public institutions, among many others. So the exercise will be taking place from all this time. Started actually from October 2 and then ending on October 11, 2023. And the regions are Greater Accra, Bono East, Ahafo, Ashanti, Eastern, Central, Western, the Western North region, and the Volta regions. So the enumerators will wear reflective vests and possess a valid photo ID, etc., for you to be able to identify them. So as the APA, urge the general public to support and also cooperate with the enumerators for a successful exercise. This is very important. It's what we have to go for a break. But again, we tell you we have cash out. It goes with the code *439#, and then also Dewa 539 chop money *446# is the code. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for those on stream as well. We're going for a break. We'll be right back.